Welcome to episode 23 of Pseudo Ludo, a video game podcast. I'm Brian, and I'm joined by Murph and Nick.
He who controls the spice controls the universe.
Nick.
Hello.
We just did a Xbox special episode, so be sure to check that out. On today's episode, we're going to be covering a few items in the news, and then me and Murph will do the breakdown of our Platinum contest, which has reached its end, in which we will rank all of the games we platinumed from least fun to most fun, and also reveal who won and by how much, and all of these fun
The day's
things.
finally here.
And we also renewed the contest for next year. It's already started. I'm screaming.
Yes, that's right. I managed to, I think every sentence I put in there was while you kept talking. You know what I mean? Like I would wait for like a gap, and then like I don't think I got a single word in there, which is fine.
That's good.
That's great. So yeah, I'm happy to be here with you, Brian. I'm happy that contest is over, and it's we've been waiting for this for a long time, and it's going to be a pretty exciting thing to talk about.
It's never over.
It is never over. I will see you next year.
Well, I mean, it's still going right now, so I see you.
I currently am looking at you. Yeah, but the days of frantically checking your trophies and my trophies and counting stuff up
are temporarily over.
I'm taking a nice vacation.
Same.
I'm not worrying about. Yeah, I can't like. We'll get to that.
Okay, first, what have you guys been playing? Besides platinum games, no platinum games, Murph. Save it.
You know what I've been playing? The
Dune trailer?
I've been playing, yes. I've been playing the Dune trailer over and over, and it's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, go check that out. YouTube.
I wish you knew the hyperlink.
Yeah.
It's BCT.
I had it pulled up, and now I don't, but, ladies and gentlemen, go pull that up at youtube.com/watch V equals N9XH capital JR capital P capital X OP4, and make sure to give it tons of love. Give it some likes. Leave a comment, because we need this movie to be a success, because it's going to be the greatest movie of all time. The trailer looks incredible, and we need there to be a sequel. So please watch that movie.
Yeah, good luck with that. There's still a global pandemic, and movie theaters are closed in the two biggest markets in the United States. So something to think about.
The spice must flow.
All right, so what else have you been playing, Murph? Any fucking video games, kid?
Yeah. So I'm not going to get into our Platinum contest and what we've played, through that. So just other things that I've touched on. Nick and I played a lot of Worms, WMD, on the PS4, which is just like another entry in the Worms series, which I understand to be long-running, but that's actually my first time playing it. And it's like a huge amount of fun. Like it's really, really fun. Like it's designed as like a multiplayer. It would be really good for local multiplayer, but we've been playing online together and having a lot of fun with that. Otherwise, I picked up Dragon Quest XI again after a long hiatus, probably due to the Platinum contest. Is probably why I stopped playing it originally. Yeah, I'm just having fun with that again now that I don't have to worry about the trophies or anything. Just going back into that, playing some of the post-game stuff, working towards the last boss, and that's about it. But that game is really good. I forgot how much I enjoyed playing it.
But I've been playing, Murph, aside from the absolute drudgery of the final days of our contest, I bought and have been playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remake. And it's very fun, very nostalgic for me, because I used to play these games quite a bit growing up. Very relaxing. It's just nice to throw some tunes on and just skate, bro.
I can't think of like many better podcast games than a Tony Hawk game. That you know what I mean? That sounds perfect. You just kind of vibe. You maybe throw some high scores up there. Who knows?
Yeah, it's very satisfying, and I barring Crash Bandicoot 4 getting like crazy good reviews, it probably will be the last new game I get before next gen. Just 'cause I'm trying to save some money. But
that's fair.
I am enjoying it quite a bit so far.
Cool. That's great. Yeah, I was so close to getting it, and then I checked. I was like, yeah, I don't think there's transactions, but
there will be.
There will be, and So
I already spotted where they're going to be.
Yeah, that was just enough to make me wait and be like, all right, no more, not a launch day anymore, launch weekend. Let's, wait and see, wait for the price to go down, see how they implement this stuff. If it's, garbage, like I'm assuming it's going to be, because they did it after the review period, which I hate. That should be shunned by all review outlets. I think they should take their reviews down of a game, because, what's the point of reviewing a game if you know the developers are literally withholding the most criticized parts of their games until after the review is over? If I was IGN, I wouldn't stand for that at all.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I know they need the clicks, they need the traffic, that sort of thing. But I would say we're not going to support this. You guys are clearly not respecting our journalistic integrity here by withholding part. What if the most controversial parts of a movie were cut out of the cut that they showed reviewers? Like, yeah, I don't know how they're going to support that. So.
Yeah, imagine they just added shit in a movie.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, something that they thought would be unpopular, but yeah, who knows? Like, I don't know. It's nonsense. So, anyways, aside from that, anything else that you've been playing?
Me? No, that's it.
No.
Well, I mean, we'll get into
Cool.
the platinum stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of like just new games coming out, there are like a ton of games that I do want to play that have been like, I want to try Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, which is a remaster of a 2000, I want to say 11. Is that correct? 2011 RPG,
somewhere in there, yeah.
Fantasy
11 or
RPG.
12.
Yeah, released around the same time as Skyrim, and it's supposed to be great. Everybody that I've heard of on the internet loves it, but I haven't personally played it. I would like to try it, but I also, after finishing this Platinum contest, have so much on my backlog that I've not been able to play that I want to try and cut down before PS5 comes out, because I don't want to be going into PS5 with all this last gen stuff that I haven't tried yet, because I, theoretically want to have a semi-clean slate for the next generation. So I do want to try Tony Hawk. I do want to try Kingdoms of Amalur. I will want to try Crash, but I don't know if I'm going to get to those anytime soon.
Yeah, I think Crash and Watch Dogs I'm probably just going to keep on the back burner for next gen and like maybe January or something after launch.
Yeah.
Or maybe get them at launch with PS5, but I think Miles Morales and Cyberpunk and then most likely Dark Souls or Demon Souls it's looking like will come out launch window. So I think I'll probably just kind of, but we'll see. It depends on if they get like crazy good reviews. I'll want to play it immediately. So
yeah. Watch Dogs is on my radar as well, and it does seem like something I would be into and like really enjoy. So I just have a feeling it's gonna fly under the radar and just like not get picked up because of all the other stuff coming out like in that time frame. But yeah, it does look pretty cool. But yeah, Nick, what have you been playing?
Just a bunch of Worms with you. If you were, have you ever played Territory Wars back in the day? It's very reminiscent of that. Same general idea about the placement of characters and using different weapons to try to obviously eliminate the enemy team with timed movements and certain restrictions on what equipment you can use. I do like how Worms has the crafting ability. That's kind of a neat little thing because you can turn the tides of battle if you pick up a box with some parts in it.
Yeah,
a banana seed.
I think that feature may have been implemented in WMD. I think I was reading about it. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's a great feature. Leads to a lot of versatility and kind of making your own strategy, different play styles, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm having a lot of fun with that.
And that's pretty much it.
All right, why don't we get into the news? Murph, what do you think? Is it news
yeah,
season?
Let's. I think it is.
We get like a newsroom generic sound effect.
Yeah.
Like, dun 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 dun. All right, let's get into the news. We have 2 items on the news that we're going to cover. All right, item number 1: Nintendo had a Mario Direct for the 35th anniversary, and a lot of these announcements are very exciting on the surface level, but of course
they're very exciting at first.
We know that there's,
but of course
Nintendo has a butt.
Yeah, they have to ruin everything. They can't just let me enjoy something. They can't let me be excited.
All right, save it. Let me explain what happened, and then you can throw a temper tantrum. All right, there, kiddo. All right, first thing on the list here, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which is an optimized bundle of the Mario games Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy, coming to Nintendo Switch with higher resolutions and gameplay optimizations for the Nintendo. I already said Nintendo Switch. And gameplay optimizations. Sounds great, right? Well, stay tuned. We'll save it. We'll get to the question marks later. Then they announced Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, which is a Mario Kart.
It's an augmented reality, basically remote control kart toy. So
no thanks.
The remote I mean, it's cool for kids. That's the target audience. Like, I would love that as a kid, where you have these toy cars and you set up the track using special trackers, and then you basically make your own Mario Kart game in the real world, and you can play it on the Switch, which is, I mean, it's a cool idea in theory.
Up next, the Game & Watch and Super Mario Bros. Bundled collectible device, which has both of these games on a little handheld Game & Watch looking console for $49.99. Then Super Mario 3D World with Bowser's Fury DLC, which is an enhanced version of the Wii U game Super Mario 3D World. Then Super Mario Bros. 35, which is a competitive online battle royale situation where 35 players compete to be the last Mario standing. And then Super Mario All-Stars, which is a classic Super NES game with upgraded versions of Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3, and Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. Now, the major point of contention amongst these announcements is that Super Mario Bros. Or Super Mario 3D All-Stars and Super Mario Bros. 35 are limited release, including their digital versions,
that is correct.
Seems to be one of the most tone deaf and confusing moves that Nintendo has made in quite some time.
Yeah, this will get you a lot of points in the how much can Nintendo mess up something we're nostalgic for category of what is that, bingo? Category? Yeah, we'll call it a bingo card. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about this, Brian?
I just don't understand it. It's like they go out of their way to just anger people, but they'll get away with it. I understand, if they wanted to do, even this, I think would be a stingy move, but it would make some semblance of sense if it was only physical and there was no digital version, which would still be weird. But you're just going to take the digital version off the store. I mean, they haven't announced what the follow-up, if any, will be. If these games will just be then made available on their own and it's more expensive. That's totally unknown. Will these go away completely?
And that's okay to me, because I think the fact that they didn't say that means either, one, they're really bad at marketing, which is possible, I don't know, or two, they don't intend to do that, because they could have just said all of these games are coming to the Switch eShop separately, but in celebration of Mario's 35th anniversary, if you buy them this year, we are offering them in a bundle on sale. You know what I mean? As you formulate it as this is like a celebratory deal that we're giving you, even though $60 isn't a deal to begin with for ROMs of old games. But I am genuinely baffled. I do understand in the past they've had limited runs of anniversary collections like the original 3D All-Stars, right? That doesn't make sense in the digital age. It makes zero sense at all. And yeah, it would be really, really lame if they only release physical, but that would be lame but would make sense. This one is just lame, it doesn't make sense. So I don't know, pick your poison.
Yeah, it's these are three of my favorite games of all time, and I was instantly going to buy them when I initially saw this press release, and then now I'm I don't really think I want to. I mean, it's tough to
it just makes it a bummer. But it's this should just be a celebratory moment for a huge piece of history, for Nintendo, and they found a way to, I would say, against all odds, they found a way to make it just a little bit more of a damper than it should be. As soon as I watched the Direct, I was like, okay, I'm getting this, okay, like I'm gonna go buy this like as soon as it's up, and then I saw like the limited purchasing, and then I was like, wait, what? For digital? Yeah.
Nick, do you have anything to say about Mario Bros?
Unlike you two, I was a good little consumer, and I pre-ordered the physical copy.
Oh, jeez.
I'll be getting that, and then when you guys come crying to me to play it, I will gladly give it to you because you guys are my friends.
Oh,
well, I appreciate that.
At least we have
anyways.
an in, and we can stand on moral high ground now, Murph.
That's right. That's right.
You're part of the problem. Well, can you bring it next weekend?
Passive aggressively, like ask him to play it, but also,
I would just want to go to Island Delfino, bro. Send me to Delfino.
yeah. And another complaint I've seen a lot, and this one also makes sense, is, if you like, let's just frame it this way: who is the most important video game character of all time?
Sly
It's
Cooper.
without a doubt Mario. I really set myself up for
Yeah,
that.
you did. Dunked on him, smoked him.
It's Rob Brendamore in NHL 08.
Yeah, it's with some doubts, I would say it's Mario. And we've seen returns of other franchises like Crash Bandicoot, and we've seen Spyro the Dragon. We've even just recently seen Tony Hawk.
Wait, hold on. I like how you put a human, real person in the same company as these.
Everyone's favorite mascot. So we've seen these like less popular, but still obviously massive, gaming franchises come back with like a lot of love put into the remasters and remakes. A lot of love. All this extra content. Remastered, upgraded graphics. Some remade from the ground up, like in the case of Tony Hawk, Crash, and Spyro. And they did the absolute bare minimum here with their most important character and the most important character in video game history. What is shocking to me is this is like kind of against the precedent they've set up, because for the anniversary of, I think it was what anniversary was it? I don't know. For one of the Zelda anniversaries, when the 3DS came out, they remade from the ground up Ocarina of Time. They eventually remade Majora's Mask, and those were really good remakes. They've also made very lovingly well done remasters of the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess for the Wii U, which both updated the visuals and they look great. They also added new content. They fixed content in places where people had complaints originally. Like they made the boat go faster in Link's in Wind Waker, and they fixed like some of the more grindy quests in that game. And they remade even a Game Boy game, Link's Awakening, last year in beautiful new visuals, stunning art style, all that. Now we have the anniversary of their most important IP, and not to mention some of their most important games. I mean, Mario 64 is one of the most important games of all time in terms of gaming history. It was one of the pioneers of 3D action games. And they really kind of just blew it. They didn't care at all. I was expecting at least like something more than a direct port. Whether it be a remaster, remade graphics, upscaled textures, anything like that. Even changing the aspect ratio so that it isn't in a smaller aspect ratio when you play on your TV. Minor stuff like that. They didn't do a single thing. So I just really am like wondering why it was slapped together so quickly and why they didn't put more effort into it like they did with their previous games, which they, I mean, I don't know why you'd really want to pay $60 for just the ROM dubs. I understand you don't have a choice. It's the only way to play it. They don't have it on a virtual console anymore. They used to have it on a virtual console for each of these games could be like $10 on the virtual console back then. Now it's kind of supply and demand. This is the only way to pay it. You have to pay the Nintendo tax. It's just, I think if Activision did this with Crash and gave you ports of the first 3 Crash games for $60, no one would buy it. They gave you a collection of remade from the ground up Crash games for $40. It's just an unbelievable difference in the love that they put into it. And we're talking about Activision here. I don't know if they love anything, but
money.
I think Nintendo likes money more.
Yeah, I agree that the Activision point is particularly striking. If Activision's doing something more appearingly loving than you, it's a concern.
Right, and not even consumer friendly, because like I get people will pay $60 for that. That's fine. Like I understand. There's games I would pay $60 for a direct port to as well. It's just like when other companies are just outperforming you like this, I don't know why they don't have more respect for the character that got them to where they are to begin with. Why you wouldn't want to, be excited about remaking Mario 64 from the ground up, or even just updating its visuals a little bit.
At the same time, I think that the visuals of that game in particular have become pretty iconic, so I understand the hesitation to not want to remake it necessarily. But I know what you're saying about like minor changes and aesthetic and stuff like that.
There's ways to like just improve the texture scales so that things aren't like blurry and blown up on a big TV. It's going to look pretty bad.
Play it on your Switch then.
That's a terrible defense.
Yeah, that's a horrible defense. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a good little Nintendo boy.
This guy must be one of those people on the Switch subreddits that always downvotes me.
Oh my god, I found a Switch on the train. I need to return it.
Oh man. Yeah, so that's just just a short rant.
All right, any last thoughts on that before we move on to the next item?
Super Mario Bros. 35 looks really cool. Like it's a Mario Battle Royale.
You better play it fast, Murph.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play it because it's like, oh, what if I end up liking it? I guess I can play it for a few more months.
Wait, is that one just gone completely? It's not like a purchase?
Yeah.
That's so fucking stupid.
And it's included with Nintendo. Like, this is what you get. You pay a yearly fee for Nintendo Online, the same way you do for PS Plus, any of that. Like, what are you paying for? This? It's kind of an insult, right? It's like, it goes away? I don't understand. Do I stop paying you in March? I don't think so. So...
We're just going to get doxxed for this one.
Yeah.
You can cut that out, Murph. I don't want to call attention to your,
Thank you, Nintendo. Thank you for letting me buy this game.
Nintendo
I'm definitely not gonna sail the high seas and play this on other methods. If you know what I mean.
Relax, guy.
Relax. Are you saying relax me or him?
Him.
Yeah, relax. All right. The next item in the news. The last item before we get down to the real stuff here, real meat and potatoes, multiplayer gameplay for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War has been revealed. Looks fairly standard Call of Duty fare, but there's a section in the trailer with like a boat chase, and I'm not exactly sure what exactly is going on there. It piqued my interest. Is people and allegedly in multiplayer gameplay jumping on from boat to boat and stuff. It looks pretty cinematic and cool. So I like Call of Duty casually. I'm interested. Thoughts?
I don't know. It's been I think Black Ops 4 was the only recent COD game that I bought at launch. So I just don't have an affinity for these, especially right when they come out. Maybe later on I'll get it if it's well reviewed and such.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I don't plan to get it at launch. Sorry, go ahead, Murph.
I'm personally not a multiplayer player of COD anymore. Used to love it back in the day, but that ship has kind of sailed for me. Where I just really don't find it that fun. Usually, when I get a new Call of Duty, I will go into the multiplayer mode and mess around for a while. But yeah, I really haven't had too much fun playing multiplayer Call of Duty. The most fun innovation they've had recently was the gunfight, where the 2v2s, I thought that was a lot of fun. I hope they implement that in this one, but I know it's a different developer, so who knows. But I think that's a fantastic mode, and it's a lot more fun than the normal Call of Duty, because it does have those quick, fast-paced kills, which is what Call of Duty seems to all be about, is, that instant dopamine hit of getting the, plus 100 on your screen or whatever. And it kind of just refines that to the point of perfection for me, where it's like I don't really have a desire to play normal Call of Duty maps anymore, because it doesn't have the same feel as like Battlefield to me does anymore, where that feels way more like you're on a team, you're capturing objectives, the enemies are generally in front of you, and your teammates are generally behind you, but you can flank around. Call of Duty, it's so chaotic and there's no side that has more play. It's like it always feels like everybody could just be anywhere and you never know, and you'll probably just die by someone seeing you before you see them. So that's my take, but I know it's still massively popular.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably check it out eventually, but it's a very crowded window, so I doubt that I'll get it at launch, but you never know. It'll be one of the only ones I didn't get at launch. The only one I didn't get at launch thus far was Infinity Warfare, whatever it's called. Infinity Wardfare. But yeah, looks, pretty good. I like Call of Duty, so I'm interested as usual on it, but not as rabid as I once was back in the day for new Call of Duty. But do you want to
say they're always well-made games at the very least?
Yeah, definitely. Well, this might change that.
Yeah, who knows?
Are to be believed. Okay, do you want to get into the main topic here, Murph?
Yeah, let's move on to the main topic. Why don't we?
All right, so for those not in the know, Murph and I have been in a year-long war, Infinity War, in a quest to get the most platinum trophies. There was various rules, but it kind of turned into a bit of a free-for-all as it went on. But
it did.
So let's start with saying, Murph, how many platinum trophies did you get?
How many platinum trophies did I get? I got 24 platinum trophies.
And I got 23. So you heard right. Ooh, I am the winner. We were playing golf rules. Whoever had the lowest score wins.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Murph won by 1. It was a tight battle. I'm proud of my efforts. I got much closer than I ever would have thought.
You did good.
I ended up conceding on the eve of our final night, like an election or something. I was just like,
yeah,
all right, man.
Yeah, you ended with some dignity because
I just couldn't do it anymore.
I was ready to pop off a few more that I had in the chamber.
I had those,
and
we
ended up not having to.
We ended up having the same 3 games that we were planning to use as our last minute.
Yeah,
without communicating, which is kind of nuts.
No,
but
yeah, that is like pretty impressive, and it probably says a lot about those games
and our friendship.
Yeah,
Wink.
How close we are.
Nick, you hear that?
Yeah. Nick's so out of sync with our friend, ship here that he's not
that
even
ship
in the
has
contest.
sailed. That friendship has long gone. All right, so
Well,
Murph, we're
you
gonna
know what?
rank
I'm gonna let another friend play my physical copy of the 3D All Stars.
Does it have a platinum? Because I don't care if it doesn't. All right, kiddo. Just kidding.
Ooh.
Big Nintendo, I'm sorry. Nintendo Daddy, I'm
Wahoo!
sorry. They should make a game instead of Nintendo Dogs, Nintendo Daddy, and description pending on what it will entail.
Nick reminded me, I also wanted to mention Super Mario Odyssey, some spoilers if you care about the worlds and that, and you don't, you want to go and
Mario was the killer. Didn't Nick beat that game?
Wait, what?
What were you about to say? Didn't Nick beat that game?
No, I'm talking about the audience.
Oh, okay.
God,
yeah,
so
this is
selfish,
Brian, you do know people. I thought you said Nick. This, right?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
So selfish.
Mario was the killer, though.
So, you do go to the Peach. There is a Peach's Castle level inspired by Mario 64.
Whoa!
And it's incredible. And
I actually didn't get.
You unlock. Oh.
I had my time. You're good.
Okay, and you didn't know about that?
No, I assumed that there was going to be a Mario 64 thing because I remember you hinting at it.
Yeah.
No, I never got that far.
Yeah.
Because
so there's a
contest.
There's a whole level inspired by that, and like a whole area, and you unlock the Mario 64 skin where he's like blocky, and he looks just like he does in Mario 64. And that looked so good. It looked so cool, and it's like that's the dream right there. Is use the Mario Odyssey engine and just make it. If you want to make it all look blocky in a stylized way, I understand. Like, that's retro, that's cool. Like, how they made the blocky Mario as a skin in that is kind of like, why can't they just have that kind of up-res? Because he's obviously not the same character model. He's designed to look like it, but at a higher quality. So, yeah, I don't know. Just something like that. It's like, they already remade Peach's Castle, and it looks great. This also isn't the first remake.
All
They
right.
remade it for the DS.
You
Anyways.
need to step the fuck off this ledge, all right? We're way past this.
Thank you for doing that.
I need to reel you in. All right, so
I needed
for
that.
this ranking, since you got one more than me, why don't you
Yes.
do 24 and 23, and then we can start going back and forth.
And just to clarify for the listeners, this is not our definitive ranking of the games themselves. This is about the experience of getting the platinum.
Specifically the platinum,
as a
and
whole.
in some cases in the context of this contest. Not necessarily like, oh, this was a hard list, but like, oh, I did this at a stupid time, you know. And we'll have our own subjective criteria or whatever. But
Exactly, yes. All right, so number 24 for me was Hitman Go. Ironically, one of the last not ironically, probably exactly the reason it's at the bottom is because it's one of the last games I played, and I just knew, it would be a relatively easy platinum to get. It actually ended up being way longer than I thought, and it just wasn't very fun to play for the platinum. It would have been way more fun. I mean, I enjoy Hitman. I like the Hitman series, and I do like puzzle games to some extent. I played it on my Vita, which it's perfect for. Just like kind of bang out like very quick levels, stuff like that. Almost reminds me of like an iPhone game from back in the day before they were all garbage. But yeah, just because of like the pressure of the platinum contest, I had to play through it really fast, and I had to like just look up all the like the answers for puzzles and stuff instead of trying to work it out on my own. So it wasn't a very fun experience in that sense. But the game itself would probably would have been a lot more fun to play without a guide on my own.
okay, so my 23 is Twin Breaker: A Sacred Symbols Adventure. Simply put, I just did not enjoy this game. It's not my style. I thought the controls didn't really line up for me, and I felt like I spent a lot of time just at the mercy of the ball because it's a brick breaker game, and I did not like the design of having 4 paddles for the brick breaker. I thought that it just didn't control well and felt very clunky, and so having to play it just kind of indefinitely while you got some of the random trophies like certain scores or whatever, I just did not enjoy myself. I don't think it's I think it's a pretty good list, but just with the mechanics of the game, I found it to be a chore.
That's understandable. All right, so my number 23, and as I put this together and I'm looking at it now, there's like some spots that I could probably switch around, but this is kind of just how I was feeling as I put the list together. Gravity Rush Remastered is my number 23. So this was originally a PS Vita game, and it was kind of designed around the tilt motion sensor functionality of the Vita. But basically, you can change the direction of gravity, and that's kind of how you play the game, is by falling up or falling down, falling to the side. Super cool gameplay element, and it's like, that's just genius. Like, I haven't seen a game that has ever done that as a mechanic. Super fun. However, that's all it has going for it, and it does wear off, when it only has one cool thing about it. And if I had just played the game and not had to do the platinum trophy, I would have had a lot more fun with it because it is really fun. I didn't care about the story at all. It was like very weird. It just didn't click with me at all. And just kind of like the cleanup for the trophy was just a slog. There were like some reports of glitches, so I was afraid of that. But the initial gameplay was very fun. I just didn't really have a huge amount of fun with the platinum because I had to go, get the highest score on all the challenges, stuff like that. I wouldn't really recommend it. But yeah, that's that.
For 22 for me is Batman: The Telltale Series Season 1. Now, for those that are aware of the Telltale games, these are extremely easy platinums. You just need to beat the game. But the reason it's so low for me is just because I did not like the game at all. As a fan of Batman, I just couldn't... I just found it to be just a pretty lackluster story, especially with a superhero like Batman that has so many strong stories across multiple mediums, including video games, the Arkham games. I just did not enjoy playing this, and this was one of the first ones I had queued up. Like, I bought it at launch, but I only got through episode 2 and then just deleted it. And this was one of the ones that in the very, very early phases of this contest, I queued this up and bought the second season also, and I ended up never even playing the second season beyond like 10 minutes. And like, that's how much I just did not enjoy this. And so, yeah, not my favorite. I do like some of the early Telltale games quite a bit, but I was not a fan of the way things went for them, and I did not enjoy playing this game.
My number 22 is Burly Men at Sea, which was a PS Plus game that I got for free and incredibly short platinum. It was like, it's a cool game, but it just like doesn't have a lot of depth to it. In general, it's not a cool game. It's like I don't like it that much. I don't know. I have nothing. It has nothing going for it for me other than it's like an easy platinum. I do like it has a bunch of multiple endings, and that's what the trophies are based off of. But that's all really for me.
Yeah, I bought this on the last day of the contest with the intention to rush platinum it, but this was before I conceded. Number 21 in this list is Hitman Go Definitive Edition. So this was one of the ones, along with Lara Croft Go and Burly Men at Sea. I did not end up getting Lara Croft Go or Burly Men at Sea's platinums, but I bought these 3 games on the last day of the platinum contest. And Hitman Go, it was just like so. I think the game is really cool, but
yeah,
I had just like mechanically playing it, dude. Like I just had my computer up with a full walkthrough, just looking at my computer and making the movements that my computer is making. Like, I barely even played it, if we're being honest. Like, that's not even a game. So it sucked because, and then when you messed something up, you had to rewind it, and the video was like 2.5 hours long. So you had to like specifically find, and so it ended up taking me way longer than I thought, which ended up kind of causing me the contest in the long run. But such is life.
That's a bummer. It is not fun at all to just go through the walkthrough. That's a shame. Let's see. My number 21 was Pac-Man. It's just a port of the arcade game, which is great. And this is a objectively good trophy list and obviously a very good game. The reason it's so low on my list is because I also played Miss Pac-Man, which is going to be much higher on my list. And this has almost the exact same trophy list, and I played this one afterwards, so it was just the experience of platinuming it was for me more like tedious and boring. But yeah, my full kind of review of that'll be with the Miss Pac-Man one.
Fair enough. My 20th is Infamous First Light. This was the first time I returned to that game since originally playing it in 2014, and I just ended up really not enjoying this game and this world and this characters upon revisiting it, especially when you see how from 2013 to now how much narrative games have come, how much better acting has gotten in games, how much better writing has gotten in games. It just came off so edgy and stupid, and the gameplay is still
feels
good,
very.
But it's just I couldn't get behind these characters once I was replaying it. Where like I didn't have this critique when I initially played these games, because my next one is Infamous Second Son, so it's kind of an all-encompassing critique. We're just revisiting these games and the stories and the characters in this day and age. I just found them to be super bland and super unlikable characters, really just kind of edgy for the sake of being edgy writing, and the gameplay gets really stale the longer you play. They both look really good still, though, which is interesting. But yeah, that's my 20 and 19. I didn't mean to bleed into 19 there, but it's the same exact spiel. So
yeah, I think while we're just talking about Infamous Second Son, I'll do mine. That was my number 18. And I totally agree with everything you said. You said it perfectly. A very Hot Topic inspired character in Delson, and yeah, really just kind of a grind and slog to get through after playing newer PlayStation open world games. But yeah, so my number 20 on this list is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, which is a port of a N64 racing game, pod racing, and obviously it loses points already for being a Phantom Menace game. That's factored into it, and pod racing. It's like kind of fun. It's like a surprisingly adequate racer for like a 20-year-old game that is not like fixed at all. It's just like a remastered port. I did enjoy the racing, but otherwise like it's pretty standard stuff, like, win every race, upgrade your pod, racer all the way, that kind of thing. Just not very forgettable, I guess. But overall, I had a good time with it.
So do you want me to do 18 or what are you at?
That was number 20 for me.
So you should do
So
19.
you skipped, yeah. Okay, yeah. So my 19th was Goat Simulator. Seems like it might be lower than Brian's, unless his is 18. I'm not sure.
Stay tuned.
Nice. This game is awesome. I mean, I've had this game for a really long time, and I've always thought it's hilarious. The platinum is there's one specific trophy, which Brian knows right away.
Flappy Goat.
Flappy Goat, where you have to play a knockoff version of Flappy Bird inside the game. And it doesn't just cut to the game. It doesn't just like the physics engine is still running, like stuff is still happening around you, and it's clearly causing input lag. You have to get 10 points on basically Flappy Bird, and it's impossible because of the input lag. Like, it does not match up with your taps at all. It's very, very hard. It's insanity inducing, but we both got through it. So it lost a lot of points for that in what otherwise was a very fast and easy platinum, except for that trophy. And a fun game overall. It's hilarious to mess around in that world.
Okay. I will reserve comment for later.
Okay.
I also have that platinum, so I'll be talking about it. Number 18 for me is The Order 1886, which is another case of a older PlayStation exclusive game that at the time I was kind of a staunch defender of, returning to it and just being like, yeah, no thanks. This, especially for the platinum, you can't skip any of the cutscenes. It's definitely not designed with the thought of replaying it. It's just kind of a grind to get through and get these collectibles and everything. And the game is definitely much worse than I remember it being. But again, looks really good still. Yeah, not the best plat. It's easy, very, very easy. You basically just have to beat it and get all the collectibles. You could probably do it in one playthrough if you had a guide, but I wish I had preserved this and the PS4 era Infamous games in my mind and not replayed them, because they now have a rather negative connotation in my brain where they did not before.
I didn't hear you say the title. What was it?
The Order 1886.
Oh, yeah. I tried playing that and no.
Oh, you didn't get that one?
I didn't. I did not get that one. No, I played it for like an hour and I was like, I'm not going to do this. Yeah. Let's see. So number 18 for me is Infamous Second Son. We already covered that. So what number did you just do?
I did 18. Do you want me to do 17 or do you want to do your 17?
I can do 17.
Okay.
So 17 for me was Twin Breaker. I think Brian, hit the nail on the head with his critique of it. I did appreciate a lot of the trophies. I thought there were some clever trophy
names and stuff. Yeah, definitely.
Names, stuff like that. So that gets points.
The list is good.
Like
it's
kind
of the game.
Yeah.
I have problems with the way that it controls and the mechanics of it.
Yeah.
More so than
So
any of the actual content.
So it got points for a fun list, but yeah, like Brian mostly said everything I felt about it. Yeah.
All right, 17 for me is Nier Automata. Pretty simple list if you're willing to be shameless and use the trophy store that is included in the game. Otherwise, it's pretty lengthy. You have to beat 3 runs.
That's a really good idea.
It's funny, yeah. Well, it fits in line with the game's quirkiness and the meta nature of it all. I just personally found the last chunk of this game to outstay its welcome. The fights started to get a little too long for me. And I think the game overall is really great and really unique and one of the stronger games of this generation. But just kind of in terms of the pace of play towards the third act started to get on my nerves a little bit. But the game, this is where my list starts to turn it more towards having fun.
Same
so
here.
it's not like
Same here.
But I did find that the last stretch of this game started to get kind of grindy for me. And it's not even you basically just have to beat the true story. So you have to beat 3 runs of it. So you basically just have to beat the game and then you can use your money to buy the rest of the trophies. But even the last stretch of the true run of the game I found to be a little tedious. But I love all of the story beats and stuff and the style and the different perspective switches and stuff like that. Definitely a very unique game.
Yeah, I do want to play that at some point.
It's worth playing.
It's on my
sure.
list. Up next for me is Habroxia, which is a indie 2D side-scrolling shoot 'em up, kind of inspired by like retro shoot 'em ups. It's like sci-fi based. It's pretty fun. It's like it doesn't do anything particularly impressive. It's just kind of one of those games in that genre, and it was like fun to go through and platinum it. But overall, like nothing super memorable about it. Had a decent trophy list. You know, fun modes, like high scores and stuff like that. So yeah, I had a good time with it. It was on the Vita. I think it's also on PS4, but I played it on the Vita. A lot of these I gave little extra points in my head for Vita because I think the Vita is just really fun for getting platinums.
Fair enough. Number 16 for me is Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves. It's the lowest of the Sly games for me in terms of the platinum, but not in terms of the game, as we all know probably too well how much I love these games. The platinum, I guess it's like hard to really critique it because it is a PS2 game, but the way it's set up is you have to beat the game. There's a few kind of arbitrary things you have to do while you're beating the game, like buying certain items and stuff. But then the rest of the game, it's 100% you have to do all these challenges, which vary completely in difficulty, and also in terms of like QA, it's garbage. Like there'll be a challenge like, hey, beat this boss in this amount of time, or beat this boss, but you have half your health. That's all fine, but they keep all the cutscenes and shit that's in the game, so it just makes it like really stilted to have to replay it multiple times in a row. It's like they're not tailored at all to be a challenge mode. And some of them are just really stupid and like kind of luck based. And it doesn't help playing it on PS Now that like when your shit just starts to lag right when you need it not to. So that made one of my favorite games of all time less fun to play through. Whenever I inevitably return to these games, I certainly will not be doing the challenges. Now that I've secured the platinum.
Yeah. Well, now you've done it for all of time.
For all of men.
So up next for me is Undertale, which is a fantastic indie game that I would recommend everybody play. It's a little bit lower on this list, even though everything from here on out are games I enjoyed getting the platinum in. It's a little bit lower just because like the trophies are very funny, but they're also like you can platinum it before you even finish the game, so it's not super challenging. There's nothing like particularly about the trophy design that like makes me, you know, like one of what I think makes a good trophy is like when it pushes you to do something in the game that you may not have tried otherwise, and then you find value in that thing. And this clearly doesn't do that because it I don't know, it just doesn't really capitalize on the full thing.
Up next for me, 15, is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. Pretty fun list. It's just beating the campaign on the highest difficulty, and then just kind of random challenges. It's fun. It was not my favorite Call of Duty campaign, but it was enjoyable, and I like how it was an emphasis on the campaign and didn't force you to do anything in Spec Ops or multiplayer and stuff like that. Like it allows you just to like not even I don't think there's any multiplayer trophies, which is nice. So
that is nice.
A pretty fun list. A decent Call of Duty campaign worth playing.
Which Call of Duty was that?
2019 Modern Warfare.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not a hard list though. Definitely.
That is one that I
think I got it
to do at some point.
I think I got it on the weekend that the game came out.
Yeah, I wanted to do that at some point, but I'll probably do it for this year's list.
No, actually, it was really hard.
So yeah, up next for me would be Control, which is Remedy's game from 2019. Really fun game. It's like a SCP kind of grim sci-fi X-Files world, and yeah, it's a super unique game, and I thoroughly enjoyed playing it. As to like, you know, compared to other this is an open world, but like open, you know what I mean? It's like an open game. Compared to other ones on this list, it was like a little bit more tedious at the end, like just a little bit more for getting everything. So I ranked it a tad lower than some of the other ones that are coming up.
at number 14 for me is Parappa the Rapper Remastered. The remaster of the PlayStation 1 exclusive game, rhythm game, I guess. It's kind of infuriating, but it also forced me into a mode of just pure focus that made it really fun. And then once you figure it out, you kind of get it. But it's like, I can't tell if it's broken or if I'm just an idiot. But there's one level in particular with a chicken that was way harder than it had any right to be. In the game itself, like if you knew how to do everything, you could do it in like 30 minutes probably. But it took me like several nights.
Up next for me, Horizon Zero Dawn. Did you already have this one before the contest?
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering that. Yeah. So obviously, great PlayStation exclusive open world game. Loved it. I didn't enjoy the open world stuff as much as other open world games. It's just something about it. I didn't really enjoy my full time with it. When I beat the story, if I wasn't going for the trophies, I would have been totally fine not hunting down all the extra stuff, like doing all the cauldrons, getting all the collectibles, doing all the challenges and stuff. It just didn't really appeal to me. And I definitely, my favorite part about this was the story. So yeah, I mean, it was still, great, but just a little bit lower than some of the other ones. What did you think about getting the platinum for Horizon, even though it's not, you didn't play it for this contest?
Many years removed, but I enjoyed myself very much initially.
Yeah.
Up 13, number 13 for me is Undertale, and you already talked briefly about it. I have it a little higher than you because, I don't know, it was my first time playing the game, and I really, really loved it and thought it was extremely clever and charming, and the list is really easy and kind of making fun of people for even having trophies, but
it definitely, it's like very tongue-in-cheek.
But just the experience, the technical experience of plating it includes my first time ever playing it, which makes it rank very highly because I enjoyed playing it very much.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. It is like such a good game. Cool. My next one would be Ghost of Tsushima, which I just recently finished this weekend. The only complaint, this is a great game in the style of old samurai movies. I recommend it to pretty much everybody. Only thing I would complain about is like at the end there's a lot of fox dens that you have to clean up, which are like open world things that you have to go do. They lead to like, I don't know, some upgrade that is more than irrelevant by the time you get there. But there's a lot of that, and it gets a tad tedious at the end to clean everything up, as well as finishing all the side quests. That's also a pretty lengthy endeavor. I don't really know if I want that to be a thing in every open world game for the completion of the platinum. I feel like a side quest you don't always need to play all of them, but it's up to debate.
I'll comment further in a few spots here, so I have that as well.
One good thing I want to say about this is the guiding wind mechanic. You could set to collectibles, you could set it to whatever you hadn't done yet in the world, and it would lead you to it, which is a super awesome thing to have for finishing everything up at the end, where you can just set the guiding wind to whatever collectible you need, and then it'll take you to the closest one. So it makes it a lot more seamless. You don't have to keep going into maps. You don't have to keep opening up like a YouTube walkthrough or something like that. It just kind of takes you there in the world, which I did appreciate that.
I agree. All right. Up at number 12, I have the first Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. Obviously one of my favorite games and a very easy list, so it was basically just revisiting one of my favorite games, which is obviously a very enjoyable experience. Play all the Sly Cooper games, #make Sly 5.
Yes, what he said. Let's see, my next one would be Return of the Obra Dinn, which is one of my favorite games I played for the first time during this contest, and it's simply incredible. I think everybody should just go in, don't look anything up, just play it. It's great. It's an indie detective game, basically. It's by far the best detective game I've ever played. Best mystery in a video game, that kind of thing. It's awesome. The trophies for it were pretty basic, but you got a trophy every time you completed a certain amount of of clues basically, or investigations, right? Every time you solve a certain amount of mysteries, and it's very satisfying when you do that, because if you're doing it without a guide or looking up the answers, it's so rewarding when you fill out another part of the mystery. So seeing like a trophy pop for that is a fun experience.
Number 11 for me is Slide 2, Band of Thieves. My favorite of the original games. Also not a hard list at all, so no negative thoughts on returning to this terrific game. Same thing, play all the Sly Coopers, hashtag make Sly 5.
Cool. My next game is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now, when I'm looking at this, and I'm like, does this actually crack my top 10? I kind of think I would put it behind Ghost of Tsushima at this point. But when I wrote it out, I guess I put it above. I mean, it's very close between all these open world games. It's a really fun open world game. It's actually pretty, it requires you to complete 100% of the map for each world, which is like pretty tough and kind of time consuming. But for some reason, when I got it, I just loved playing it, and it just like cut through it like butter. It never got taxing for me, even though even though it took a long time, it never got to the point where I was personally tired of playing it. Where other games like Ghost of Tsushima, even though that's I would say a better game overall by a pretty wide margin, I think I did get more tired of that and Horizon at the end.
Yeah, this was one that I was meaning to go back to, and it's never ended. I had it set aside, alas. 10 for me is Minecraft, which, as viewers may or may not know, I am not a fan of Minecraft, and me and Nick colluded to platinum this without Murph's knowledge, so that he couldn't make me plat this for losing the contest. Such foresight we had,
Yeah.
But,
which, by the way, I don't think we mentioned is the punishment if you lose. You have to.
Do you have a game that you can unveil on here, or are you still thinking about it?
Ooh, that's you should have reminded me to nail it down, because I have a list right now. I have a list of
sad.
Here, here's a little ASMR for you. This is the piece of paper that holds your destiny on it.
You actually wrote it on a piece of paper?
Yeah. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 12 games I'm considering right now.
12?
It's definitely a balance, because I don't want to be mean and make you platinum something just absolutely horrible that you wouldn't enjoy at all, but it's got to be a little bit funny for me, so gotta strike that right balance.
Fair enough.
There's a few that I can cross off because I looked them up and they're very fast and easy, and we can't be having that.
No, that's exactly what we should be having.
But yeah, so
me and Nick colluded to platinum this, and it ended up being one of the more memorable moments of the contest. Just the sheer confusion of me playing this game when I don't know anything about it. And then eventually Murph found us out and then ended up joining us, and we all had a little demilitarized zone action where we platinumed it together. And it was a very memorable experience of a game that personally am just not a fan of.
Yeah, I'm surprised it made it that high for you. But yeah, the camaraderie was fun. And it was funny that Nick was basically, and to me, to some extent, we were just walking you around the world and basically Brian, pick this up. Brian, do this.
It was way funnier
when
trophies
would pop.
In it. Yeah. Because it was literally just that. I was just his little brother being forced along on an adventure with him. He was just like, hey, do this. And I was like, what is this? He's like, go get iron. I was like, what is that? What do you mean?
Oh, that's awesome. Up next for me is Dig Dug, which is a great arcade game. Probably my favorite along with Miss Pac-Man. Stay tuned. Just really fun, and I love the idea of putting trophies on old arcade games because it gives you a reason to play it. It gives you a kind of metagame, it's like challenges to do while you're playing the game. There was one for I think dig out 1,000 blocks of dirt as you play, which is super hard and super challenging. And that was just kind of one thing with all these arcade games was it was really fun to play them with a purpose other than high score. I really enjoyed having other objectives basically to do in those games. So that was a fun experience for an already great game.
Up at number 9 for me is Control, which you already talked about. I don't agree. I didn't really think it got tedious. There was a couple bosses on the side missions that were just hard, but I very much enjoyed this experience. I think it's one of the more underrated games of this generation. Very memorable, very atmospheric, and I thoroughly enjoyed platinuming it.
Great game. Up next for me is Miss Pac-Man. Same thing I said about Dig Dug. It's got a lot more challenges. It's harder to do than just playing the game, and it taught me to be better at these games, which I
taught me to be a better person.
Yeah, I'm a man now. Yeah, and I just I just had a lot of fun with it.
Number 8 for me is Ghost of Tsushima, which you already covered, pretty succinctly. I loved the game, and I didn't have as much of a problem with the cleanup as you did. I knew from the get-go I was going to platinum it, so I played it in a way that allowed me to kind of avoid that. I would just do everything in a rather spread out way instead of beating the game and then going back to clean up. So I had a very, very enjoyable experience with it.
That's good. I think I actually overcompensated because what I did was I got all the vanity gear and how there's a few things you have to collect other than not just the fox dens. I did almost all of those that I could, and at the point of neglecting the side quests, that at the end after I was at the very end of the game just waiting kind of to finish everything up, I had to play through so many side quests and then get the fox dens that I hadn't already got. But yeah, I definitely could have done that better. Done more side quests as they came.
Should have had the foresight.
Yeah, I thought I had the foresight by trying to do the collectibles first, but I neglected. I didn't realize there were so many side quests that came up. Sad. Overall, awesome game though. How would you quick aside? How'd you rank that of the games you played so far this year? Now we could save that for a later episode.
Right now, I'd have it top 3 or 4.
Yeah, same here.
Very, very good game. One of the great PlayStation exclusives of the generation. Sucker Punch definitely righted their mistakes that I had from the infamous games that I didn't know I had until this contest.
Same. Up next for me, Dark Souls 2, which I've already platinumed Dark Souls 1 and 3, sadly, before the contest started. Only about a month before it started, too. Maybe in a few weeks, actually. This I just had to get because I had to have the trilogy all platinumed. I just had to. It was calling to me. This one is definitely the most underrated of the Souls games. And in many of the critiques are very fair. As far as platinuming it, it wasn't as bad as Dark Souls 3 was to platinum, and it wasn't as, I would say, easy as Dark Souls 1, so it was somewhere in between. Overall, it was fine. Platinuming Dark Souls or From Software games just in general shouldn't appeal to most people because almost all the trophies are missable, and obviously it's a very hard game, but I had already beaten all the games, and it's kind of fun to go back with a guide and basically 100% it. You know what I mean? You have to do pretty much everything in the game, so it's cool to kind of see everything there is to see because I love these games so much. So it's a fun experience.
Up next for me, number 7 is A Way Out, which is another game in which I colluded with Nick. And this was just
that's high up.
It was just a really, really funny experience. It was really late at night and we were really loopy, and we did most of it all. Actually, I think we did it all in a sitting, and then we beat it later. But it's just kind of a bizarre game, and it was very, very funny and extremely memorable.
Cool. Let's see. My next one is Medieval, which is a remake of the PlayStation 1 kind of cult classic game of the same name. And this is just a game I'm very nostalgic for. I, would play it as a little kid on the PS1. And so I was very much excited for this. It came out at the right time, came out around Halloween, so great spooky game to play. Nothing overly taxing, just a very there's just something so charming about those PS1 remakes that I just really enjoyed. And I think it's actually, I know people love the Crash remake. I think it's better than the Spyro remake, but maybe I just like the game more. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed my time with it. The trophy art is really cool, by the way. Like, they're all like painted drawings every time you unlock a trophy. Yeah, it's a great time. You should go and get that one for the contest this year, maybe around Halloween.
This was one that I had reinstalled recently.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised because it's a pretty short.
I just didn't have the time.
Yeah,
I didn't grind at all during the week last week. I just waited until like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, it's installed though.
Yeah,
maybe.
Nice.
Maybe
keep it on for October. Once get yourself a pumpkin iced coffee.
Yo.
And put a flannel on, have some apple pie, and then play some Medieval.
Will do, I suppose.
Sir Daniel Fortescue, good guy.
Number 6 is Overcooked 2 for me. This was one of the ones down to the wire. I played with my roommate in an attempt to thwart Murph again. A failed.
Yeah, I knew exactly what was happening there. I was like, I could picture you saying like, "Hey, let's like, you want to help me with this?" Like,
it was really fun though. It took longer than I expected, but that game's
also
awesome.
You're a little sly dog for when I was over at your house a couple weeks ago, and you're like, "Oh, we should play Overcooked 2."
I literally said we could play it together. You were the chosen one.
Okay, did you say that?
Yeah. And then we played it for like 20 minutes, and you're like, "Oh, let's play Nidhogg." You didn't have what it takes. You had to get out of the kitchen.
Yeah,
the kitchen was too hot.
So how was it to platinum it? Because I figured it'd be like super hard at the. I haven't beaten it all the way through, so I don't know how hard it gets. But I figured the last levels would be.
It's hard. It was not easy, but it wasn't like grueling. Like we did it in a weekend.
Okay, it wasn't like Flappy Goat or anything.
No. You like how I haven't said that yet?
Oh no! Wow.
All right, what's your number 6 there, kiddo?
My number 5 is up next, which is Uncharted Drake's Fortune Remastered. What a fantastic game. The Nathan Drake collection is an awesome value. I also... So this one, I did everything, but they added a trophy for using the photo mode, so I just didn't do that. And I just saved that for the very end. And I was hoping Brian wouldn't notice that. He did notice it at a certain point, but
you got close because it was like ranked where there was another thing that diluted the percentage for some reason.
Yeah, there were some because there's some DLC. There's DLC trophies in it because they add a new difficulty and they add other challenges, but they thankfully don't make that part of the main trophy list, which I appreciate. My plan was originally to have all 3 Uncharteds like that and then pop 3 off at once on the final day.
That would have been brutal.
Even to the point of like letting you beat me by like 1 or 2 so that you would like think you won, and then it's like, Dumbledore at the end of the first Harry Potter when like Slytherin thinks they won the House Cup, and then he just absolutely dunks on those 12-year-olds and says, "Nah, Neville Longbottom, 10 points."
Easy, all right.
That's a deep cut for.
I've realized I don't remember these movies very well.
I guess not, because you should have been laughing at that, because that's a funny.
I was like, my brain was like scrambling to remember what you were talking about.
It's like awesome. It's like awesome when you're like reading it, as like a 10-year-old or whatever. But like that scene now is like really funny because it's just an adult basically toying with a bunch of 12-year-olds, like completely manipulating them.
Good for him, honestly.
Yeah. That's foreshadowing what goes on in the rest of that series. All right, but yeah, it's really fun. I think the trophies are fun. I liked going through and getting the treasures, collectibles, which I literally the first time I played through these games, I think I would have like 3 to 10 collectibles each time, and there's like 100 in the game. They're very well hidden. So yeah, it was fun to kind of go through it. The speedrun trophies were fun as well.
Did you did Uncharted 2? I mean, all right, so for those not in the know, you did Uncharted 2, but then didn't pop it until after midnight, so he now has 1 platinum trophy in Uncharted 2 for next year's contest. That Correct. Being said, did you do that in a day?
No. I did it almost in a day, though.
That's fucking nuts.
I got through... So you have to play on crushing difficulty, and you have to get all the collectibles. Obviously, I wasn't going to play through it twice, because, got to be efficient here. So I would play it on crushing and get the collectibles as I was going through the levels. and I probably got a third of it done at some point before, like in February, I think. And
wow, really?
Yeah, and then I came back and finished it that weekend.
Good for you.
Yeah,
I do want to
really
get
fun
all
time.
the Uncharted's eventually.
Me too. I think I'm gonna do Uncharted 3 as my next platinum because I want them to all be like 1, 2, 3 in that order on my trophy list. But,
Freak.
There's just freaky things that I care about and nobody else. Yeah.
All right, number 5 for me is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. Quite the sentence there. Lots of qualifiers.
Yes.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is one of my favorite games ever, probably. I have deep, undying nostalgia for the campaign of this game, and so revisiting it was a joy. And I think the trophy list is pretty fun. I like some of the stranger challenges, like the Immortal thing, and I wish there was a better tracking for it, but overall it was very enjoyable. There was a couple weird ones, but getting to revisit this game was very, very fun.
Yeah. That's one that I beat it on veteran difficulty, but I didn't go back for the Immortal run, playing through it without dying. So I've got to do that, but that'll definitely be something I tee up for this current year. All right, up next for me, Final Fantasy VII Remastered. This is just an outstanding game. It's my game of the year right now. Spoilers. And yeah, it's just
I'm gonna pretend
incredible.
you didn't say that.
I had such a fun time with it, and the trophy list itself is actually pretty tough, but also very fair. Nothing is missable. You do have to play through it a second time though, which could be tough. And yeah, I just had so much. I never, even though this was one of the longer games that I played in terms of like time to platinum, because it requires 2 full playthroughs, I never got tired of it. If there was more to do in that game for the trophy, I still would have been playing it after the point that I was at. I just had such a great time with it the whole way through. It's just a testament to how fun the game is, really, because there's nothing particularly special about any of the trophies. It's just it was just so fun to play that it just ranks super highly for me.
Yeah,
and it came at a good time because I was just quarantined, stay at home, so didn't have anything else to do. So perfect for that. I'll always, that'll always be tied to that memory for me.
Yeah, I do sort of want to go back to that at some point. This is a terrific game.
Yeah, big recommend.
All right, so up next for me. Earlier in this podcast, when describing what you view as a good trophy list, you said, pushes you to do something you normally wouldn't do, and then forces you to find value in that thing. And so my number 4 pick is Goat Simulator.
Wow.
When I think back on this contest, surely one of the most visceral memories will be staring at that flappy goat thing for like an hour and a half straight in the middle of the night. Just total, pure focus. Probably the most focused I've ever been on anything in my entire life. And the fury of failing, and the joy. They're not even joy, the release. Like the physical, it was like I was in pain and I finally was able to go to bed.
Wow.
And it was, yeah, there you go. The rest of the thing is totally like inconsequential. The rest of the list is like you can do it in 45 minutes. And then the flappy goat thing is just, and that's another one that we both started without telling each other.
Oh, we started the same night.
The same night,
and we were playing it on party chat together. Yeah, that was hilarious. What you said about the focus reminds me about one critique I have of Final Fantasy VII that probably almost would have stopped me from getting the platinum. I mean, I never would. I would have done this forever if I had to. But there was one where there's a pull-up minigame at a gym, and you have to get pull-ups by pressing like an input of buttons. You know what I mean? Like it's like a QuickTime event basically, and it's based on a minigame in the original game, and it's way harder in this. It's infuriating. So you like the final stage, like the final quote unquote boss of this is like they're really fast at doing the pull-ups, and if you don't do it perfectly, like timing and everything, you're gonna lose. It's awful. And it got to the point where, so this one person, your character is doing pull-ups and the other person's doing them to your left. I literally covered up half my TV so that I didn't have to see the other person doing them, and I could just focus on myself. Like, it was insane. I was never so focused on anything. It took so long. It took probably 2 hours overall. I had to keep going back and trying.
You'll love to see it. And all for an invisible trophy in a completely meaningless contest.
Yeah.
Bragging rights, I guess, so you can make me platinum a weird game that I've never heard of and laugh at me. Strange times.
I mean, it'll all be worth it in the end.
Stay tuned. Number 3 for me is The Last of Us Part 2, my game of the year, a game I very, very much enjoyed playing. The list is pretty easy, maybe even too easy, but in terms of just, regardless of the platinum or not, just one of my favorite game experiences of the year, and being that I also platinumed it, it's ranked very highly for me, and revisiting it to get the collectibles and stuff was not that, like, I wouldn't have already played it again, but it was very rewarding to play through twice, I think, and see, like, pick up on things you didn't notice first time or whatever, because the first playthrough is very, I was basically just sprinting to get to the end because I didn't want anything spoiled for me, so it's nice to kind of go back and just kind of, I do want to do a permadeath run eventually.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Maybe now that there's a bit of a lull, or even just the grounded mode, I don't know, but sorry to the people that hate the game. I enjoy it very much, and to each their own.
That's fair. Let me see what my next one is. Number 3, Modern Warfare 1 Campaign Remastered. This was kind of a tie, actually, between Final Fantasy VII and this one. I didn't, this one came out on top. Like we said, focus, I think it's called the SSD mission, where you have to do the training thing at the beginning and, like, shoot all the targets, like flashbang, that kind of thing. I have literal trauma from going through that, trying to get the high school, like the fastest time. But very fun, very rewarding. You know what? Game time decision. I'm docking it. It's number 4. Final Fantasy VII is number 3. But because I also just remembered playing the campaign on veteran was so hard in the one shot one kill mission. Overall, it wasn't. There were some parts where just like a little bit older game design made it worse than beating other Call of Duty games on veteran, where it's like so many grenades would fly at you. There were just some parts where it's like just a constant barrage of grenades and getting insta killed by things. It was at its worst in the one shot one kill mission, where you fight waves of enemies that just come at you and you basically have no cover. It's ridiculous, but somehow very fun still. I had a great time playing it, other than those gripes. But yeah, like what Brian said, it was just so fun to play through, and yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it for Modern Warfare 2.
Modern Warfare 2 is not nearly as hard. I don't know what the deal with that is.
I already beat Modern Warfare 2, so I don't have to worry about that.
Oh, you just didn't do the Immortal one.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, it's not nearly as hard. And neither is the 2019. The 2019 one's like easy to play on veteran. It's weird. But
is there a trial course in that one? Like a speed?
If there was, it was so easy that I don't remember it. But I don't think there was. But speaking of these trial courses, my number 2 is Titanfall 2. And this was the other piece to the pure focus and determination. Dude, I remember it was a free game of the month, and I was like, oh, I can do this. And I did, like, the entire game. They were like, I beat the game on veteran, and I didn't do the collectibles until I returned to it. But I beat the game on veteran, or whatever the equivalent of veteran is, on, like, the first day I had it. And I was like, oh, this won't be hard at all. And returning to that fucking gauntlet is horrifying. It was like, it literally took me months. Like, I would keep it installed, sometimes delete it, then reinstall it, and I would just, like, periodically go and just try. And it was so hard. And I remember getting it on Party Chat with you and Nick, because, like, I was like, when you start to overthink things when you're too focused on it. It was like that, where I just started talking to you guys, and I was so, like, ingrained in all of the emotions you had to do that I got it without even realizing it. It was such it was actually like I felt like I had earned something.
Yeah, I think the difficulty does lead to, like, some accomplishment. Like, same with me for the Modern Warfare 1, when I finally got that trophy and it popped. Like, it was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. very memorable for sure.
Mm-hmm. Let me see what I have next. Number 2, Hotline Miami.
Ooh.
Yeah. Speaking of games that are extremely hard but also very rewarding, this was might have been the hardest one to platinum for me. I would say that, and then the specific sections of Modern Warfare 1. I would say overall Hotline Miami was my hardest one. But so fun. Like, you should definitely platinum this for the contest next year. It's just insanely fun going through. It's like listening to the music. It's like very, oh man, it's just a vibe. It's just like such a fun like rhythm that you get into with the, you know, like working your way through the levels of this like top down twin stick shooter.
Yeah, it's a great game for sure.
It's awesome.
Something to consider
awesome
for next year.
And like getting the high scores is like genuinely very, very hard, which you have to get like a certain score for each level. Some of them are so hard, even if you're watching like a YouTube tutorial on how to do it. It's like a dance that you have to, you know what I mean? You have to literally master the level, which I like in games when you have to do that. You have to kind of just be so familiar with where all the weapons are, where the enemies are, when they attack, their attack patterns, that kind of thing. And when you do get that, like you know, whatever score you were going for, it's very, very satisfying.
So my number 1 after all of this is Bloodborne.
Oh.
So I had obviously already played and completed Bloodborne prior to this contest, but I returned to it for the platinum, and it was just a terrific experience to return to one of the best games of the generation and get to do all of the random shit I'd never done before, play the DLC, which I'd never done before, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful game. You hopped back on, made a new character at the same time, as well as some of our other friends, and it's just a glorious game. From Software is one of the best to ever do it, and it was a genuine pleasure to return to this game and to get all the trophies like any good hunter would.
That's right. How thematically tied in is that? I already had the platinum for this, but I would have absolutely loved to have done it for this. Like you said, it's probably one of my favorite platinums that I've ever gotten. And yeah, it was really fun going back to play with you to get the trophies and stuff. Had a great time.
But also, fuck the Cursed and Defiled dungeon. But also,
Yeah,
shout out to
the
sole person that still hangs out there to be summoned.
It's awesome. I love the dedication from that community. Fantastic. And let's see, my number 1 is Minecraft. And
whoa, really?
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, I put it at number 1 tentatively, and I was like, I'm sure some other stuff will get ahead of it, and then nothing else did. Even though, you know, it's an old game, I've played it a bunch. It was really fun to go back for the trophies. I think the trophy list is like well designed. I think it's a good blend of things I had personally, even though I've played this game hundreds of hours throughout my life, have never done in the game. So it was cool that, you know, in the same way that Dig Dug and this Pac-Man had new reasons to play, this kind of gave me a new reason to play. And like you said, it was really fun playing with you and Nick again to just kind of, like, first of all, seeing you in the world was really funny. That's why I wanted to pick it, was just to see the confusion on your, like, not on your face, but, you know, in the game.
In my heart.
In your heart, yeah. And yeah, it was just really fun to go back to it. And it's just a fantastic game overall.
All right, thank you for joining us. Nick, where can they find us?
They can find us on Twitter at PseudoLudoCast. They can find us on Instagram at PseudoLudoPod, and they can find us on YouTube occasionally.
All right, thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
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 Get some trophies.
Bye.
Bye. Mario. Save Mario.